Don't forget to like and subscribe to Jolie Knots Crochet. Share with your friends. Hit that little notification bell so you can get notified when new patterns release. All our videos are available in left and right-handed tutorials. Hi everyone, welcome back to Jolie Knots Crochet. I'm Crystal and today we are going to be making the Free Spirit Ruana. Now this Ruana is pretty easy to customize for your size, but I'm going to give you a one size fits all as far as the width goes, and then you can choose a different height for the length of it. So if you are a shorter person, a taller person, or somebody really tall, or if you just like your piece to be shorter or longer. So I will show you the stitch counts for the length. This yarn is going to be best worked in a solid color, an ombre color, or self-striping color. A variegated yarn won't really work. It'll kind of hide your stitches and make it look a little bit too busy. Now the stitching on this is really simple. All we're using is chains, half double crochets for the border, and half double crochets and treble crochets for the body. We're going to be working this in two separate panels, and then I'll show you how to put them together. Now the reason we're doing it in two separate panels is because the treble crochets have their natural lean to them. We're doing it in two different panels so that way the lean is not the same all the way throughout. One side will lean similar like with the other side. Hopefully that makes sense. Now the yarn that I am going to use for this is Lion's brand Kobu yarn. It is 3.5 ounces with 232 yards in each skein. 51% cotton, 49% rayon from bamboo, and it is a light 3-weight yarn. Now I am a left-handed person, and this yarn is spun in a way that I think for me as a lefty, it kind of unravels. So the hook sizes that you are going to use are a 5.5 millimeter and a 6.5 millimeter. You'll go up to a 6.5 millimeter for the border. I'm going to be showing you with the 5 millimeter because I will get the same gauge as you with the 5 millimeter. Now as far as your gauge goes, you are going to have, I suggest you make a swatch like what I'm going to show you in the pattern, and you'll have 9 stitches wide and 5 rows high for 2.5 inches. There will be a link to the written pattern available in the description box below, and I will also link to Jolie Knots Crochet on Instagram, on Facebook, and also the Jolie Knots Crochet community group on Facebook, so you can post your projects and show us what you've created. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is choose our length. The short length is going to be about 24 inches long in the front and 24 inches in the back. So the panel you're going to be making will be twice that length. The medium will be 28 inches and the long will be 32 inches. So in order to get started, you will do a foundation single crochet of 177 for short, 201 for medium, and 225 for the long. Now, the foundation single crochet is really simple, and the reason we are going to do this is because we don't want the foundation where we're starting is in the middle of our project. So it's going down the seam of our back and up the seam of the insides on the front. So if you do a chain, you're going to want to go up a hook size because you don't want it to be squeezing too tightly, or when your panels get put together in the back, it's going to look a little bit cinched up. Okay, so in order to do a foundation single crochet, you're going to chain 2, go into the first chain that you created and pull up a loop. And now we're going to pull up a loop and only go through the first loop on your hook. So that's creating your chain. Now you have 2 loops on your hook still, and you're going to yarn over and pull through both. That's creating your first foundation single crochet. So now you have these 2 loops that are sitting at the top We're not going to go into those ones. We're going to go into the bottom, the loop right underneath it. Pull up a loop, doing that twice. And then yarn over and pull through both. So there's 3 steps to this stitch. Into that bottom line right here, step 1 is to pull up 1 loop. Step 2 is to pull up 1 more loop. And step 3 is to pull through both loops. So you're going to continue that until you get to the foundation single crochet length that you want. If you are just making a swatch to check your gauge, you are going to foundation single crochet 13. So continue on with your foundation single crochets, and I'll meet you back to get started on the first row. Okay, so here I have got my 13 foundation single crochets. Now row 1 is going to be the right side of our work. So we're going to turn our work. We're going to start with a stacked single crochet to create a double crochet. Because we're not putting a border on the bottom of our piece, we don't want the chain 3 and then the treble crochet to give it like a ruffled edging. So we're going to start with a stacked single crochet to create a treble crochet. The way that we do that is we go into the first stitch, we do not chain 1, and make a single crochet. Now you have these 2 loops from your single crochet, skipping the first loop, going into the second one, we're going to make a single crochet. Now we've stacked 2 single crochets. And now we're going to do it one more time to get to the height of a treble crochet. So skipping the first loop, going underneath the second, pull up a loop, and finish out your single crochet. And that is a stacked single crochet to create a treble crochet. Now we're going to treble crochet into the next 3 stitches. One, two, 3. So you should have 4 treble crochets. Now we are going to chain 1, skip 1 stitch, treble crochet into the next 3 stitches. And that's going to be what your repeat is until you have 4 stitches left to your work. You will chain 1, skip 1, and treble crochet 3 times. Chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet 3 times. Because my swatch is small, I'm here and I have got, 5 stitches left. So we'll chain 1, skip 1, treble crochet into the next 3 stitches after your skipped stitch. You'll have 1 stitch left, and we'll add another treble crochet there. So your first row is going to start with 4 treble crochets and end with 4 treble crochets. But into the middle of that, you'll have 3 treble crochets in between. So your work should look like this. 3 treble crochets, skipping 1, 3 treble crochets, skip 3, all the way down. Alright, so now we're going to get started on row 2. So chain 1 and turn your work. And this row is super simple. We're just going to half double crochet into every single stitch and every single chain. To this chain space. You don't have to go into the chain, but you're just half double crocheting all the way across. Getting started on row 3, we're going to turn our work. We're not chaining one because we're starting again with a stacked single crochet to create a treble crochet. So make that single crochet, working into the second loop from your chain or from your hook. Single crochet, and then do that one more time. We're stacking 3. And now we're going to place a treble crochet into the next stitch. So this row will only start with 2 treble crochets. Now we're going to chain 1, skip 1, and into the next stitch, place another treble crochet. And this is where our regular repeat begins of 3 treble crochets, chaining 1, skipping 1, 3 treble crochets. So the only difference in this row is that you are starting with 2 and ending with 2, whereas in row 1 we started with 4 and we ended with 4. After row 3, this is what your work should look like. All of your treble crochets should be facing the same direction. So this is the front side of your work. Okay? You should also notice that where your chain space is staggered in the top from where your chain space is. So your middle treble will fall right over that. Now row 4 is going to be a repeat of row 2. So chain 1, turn your work, and we are half double crocheting into every single stitch and every single chain space. So if you're just working a gauge swatch to find out if you are using the right size hook to get the right measurements for this project, I will show you the measurements that you should have at this point. So your work now should be measuring just under 3 inches. It's about 2 3/4 inches. Okay, so you are going to repeat 1, 2, 3, 4, rows 1, 2, 3, and 4 until you have 14 treble crochet rows total. 14 rows total. Okay, now once you get to the last row of your repeat and you've got all your 14 rows, you will make sure to end with a row 2, and that's when we're going to switch our hook. So remember, I'm using a 5 so that I can meet the gauge with this yarn, so I'm going to switch to a 6. But if you started with a 5.5, then you're going to switch to a 6.5. So for our border, we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're going to half double crochet into the first stitch. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet into the next. So this is essentially like a moss stitch, but with half double crochets. Half double crochet, chain 1, skip 1, half double crochet, all the way until you get to the end. And that completes the first row of your border. For row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Our chain 1s here are not counting as stitches. Now we're going to half double crochet into the first stitch and half double crochet into your first chain space. So from here, now is where we're going to begin our repeat. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet into your chain space. Chain 1, skip 1 stitch, half double crochet into your chain space. You're going to do that all the way up to your last chain space. And then you'll have one stitch left at the end, and we're just going to half double crochet into that stitch. And those are the first and second rows for your border. So you're going to repeat rows 1 and 2 until you have 7 half double crochet rows. Now you can make it longer if you like, you can make it shorter if you like, but 7 is what I did to create this look. Now because it's a moss stitch, it still has that really nice flow to go along with the treble crochets. Your border should be just under 3 inches. Okay, so you're working each panel until you have 14 rows of treble crochets and 7 rows of the border on the outside. Okay, so go ahead and finish out your panels, and I will meet you back to show you how to put them together and how we are going to create the inner border, which is going to be like up the front on one panel behind our neck and then down the panel on the other side. Okay, so now that we have both of our panels finished, what we are going to do is lay them out so that your foundation single crochet is in the middle. And then all we're going to do is go up from the bottom, and we're going to whip stitch up halfways, just a little under halfways, maybe like 10 stitches or so. If you go all the way halfways, for example, the front is going to be shorter than the back. So if you want to customize that and even it out a little bit, then that's what you would do, is just go a little bit less than halfways. So making sure that both panels are showing the front side of your work. This is the front side, showing the front side of the trebles, okay? And I am just going to take some yarn, maybe about, I don't know, 25 inches or so, 2 feet. And I'm going to attach my yarn to the bottom of this panel, and that way I don't have that extra end to weave in. I just join my yarn with the magic knot. No ends to weave in there. That is the best part. Okay, so we'll thread up our needle. If you prefer to join it with a slip stitch or a single crochet, that's fine also. This is just my preferred method. If you have a different preferred method, go ahead and do that. So to whip stitch, I'm just going inside of my first stitch where the bottom of my foundation single crochet is. And then I'm going to go inside of the same stitch on the other panel. And that's it. That's all we do, is go back and forth, around and around. Now, like I said, this is the way that I like to join mine. But you can join yours if you have a different preferred method. That's fine. All right, so go ahead and whip stitch up half of that so we can leave the front open. We'll be leaving the front open and the sides open. You can close up the sides if you want. That would be more of a kimono type piece, but that's fine. Also, you can do that as well. I like to keep my patterns pretty customizable, so do what you like. All right, so go ahead and finish this out, and then I'm going to meet you back here so that way to show you how to do the bordering on the front of your panels, and then that will be our last step, and then your Ruana will be done. Okay, so I just completed seaming the back of mine up. And so now all we're gonna do for the front, we're just gonna create like a finishing row, I guess you would say, just to clean it up and make it look a little bit nicer where it comes down in the front. So I'm going to join my yarn again. We used 2 hook sizes, and so the hook size that we're using for the finishing seam is going to be the same hook size that you used for the body. We went up a hook size for the outside band, but for the body, that's the hook size that we're going to use. I'm just going to pull up a loop, chain 1 for height, and half double crochet into every stitch all the way up, and then all the way down the other side. And that's it. So when you're finished doing this, I am going to make a tie for mine, just for around my waist, almost like a sash, but it's just going to be a chain. So I'm going to go down several hook sizes so my chain doesn't stretch and it stays just the way that it is. And I'm actually going to chain with 2 pieces together, so it's a little bit thicker and a little bit more durable. Now you don't have to do the chain or the sash or the band or whatever it is you want to call it. That's just optional. All right, well, thank you everyone for watching Jolie Knots Crochet. I'm Crystal. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under Jolie Knots Crochet. Don't forget to find us on Facebook in the Jolie Knots Crochet community group and show us what you've created.